Something a little different today. I have this very high quality Makita hammer drill that is broken. I got it from a buddy of mine who used it at his business and it broke. It's not worth fixing. So I'm going to tear it apart. We'll see how it's made and I'm going to salvage some parts out of this. So we'll see what's worth keeping out of a broken tool like this. Does this label mean that was made in the UK? That's not super clear, and I am not that familiar with Makita tools, but either way, it's clear this is a high quality tool. I got it, I tore it apart before, you can see. I've just got it taped back together here, and it's just been sitting in a drawer because I couldn't figure out what to do with it. Well, that drawer is getting very full now, so I'm going to just salvage what I can out of this and then throw away the rest. This was several years ago now, so I don't remember exactly what the issues were with this, but one of them was that the switch was trashed. Here you can see it's all taken apart now, and this is, that must be the brand there, Satori. Since this is not a full normal teardown, I'm not going to take the time to look up this brand or do that kind of thing. This is just going to be about seeing what we have in here and what's worth saving. Right off the bat, I see something I am going to keep. This has a very high quality cord. It feels like it's thermoset rubber. Let me look here. The markings are worn off, whatever markings it had originally, but it's clear just holding it that this is a thermoset rubber, so this is an SJ cord. It is nice and flexible, clearly a high quality cord. It's also in good shape. Sometimes on older tools they get cracked, especially here by this strain reliever boot, but this one looks good. So I'm going to take off this plastic clip here which acts as a strain reliever, and then I'm going to keep this cord. Moving up the line here, the destroyed switch, no point in that, I don't have any use for that. The brushes here on the brush holders, you can see stamped brass brush holders. The brushes have some meat on them left, but it's clear they've had quite a bit of wear. Like I said, this was used at a business my buddy worked at, so yeah, this was used probably quite a lot. Before I tear this apart too much more, let's check out this high quality Makita old school manufacturing. All fully metal gears here. That's not really a surprise. A modern tool like this would still have metal gears probably, but then like look at this housing here that's cast aluminum. On a lot of cheaper tools, as we've seen in the past in the gearboxes, these are the types of things that are now made of plastic. Interesting to see this is not epoxy reinforced on such a high quality tool. I guess it also shows that you don't always need that, but it would have been nice to see some epoxy reinforcement to help keep vibration from damaging the windings. However, the windings were not damaged. That was not one of the problems with this, so they definitely survived. Next, I'll get the rotor or armature out of here. With, it turns out, the entire gear case assembly. It's been balanced, it's been resin dipped, that's very clear when you look at the windings, not epoxy reinforced. This is interesting, it has kind of a shield on the back side. This would be all encased in here, so there would not really be debris able to get in there. So you can see they just used kind of a shield on this side, but if you see on the other side, it looks sealed because this front side of the bearing, debris would be able to get in here from all the airflow through the motor. So they're really a nice attention to detail here. They didn't put a seal where they didn't need it on the back side, and they did on the front side here. Seals obviously keep debris out of the bearing better, but they have some drawbacks. They often reduce the top speed of the bearing. They add additional drag and heat, so you don't always want to add them if you don't need them. I'll put an Amazon link to this down below. This is a tiny little gear and bearing puller kit that I got for tearing apart tools, and it's been really handy. First up here, I'll use this bearing splitter to pull off the front bearing. Here's just one of the things you can do with this little kit. You see we have the bearing splitter here, then this little puller and a forcing screw, which will help me just pull that bearing right off the shaft. Here's the bearing off the front. It is NMB brand, sealed on one side, made in Thailand. The other side is open because it was facing basically just a little reservoir of grease, so they didn't really need a seal on that side. The size on this one is 608. All right, I have this all set up to pull the rear bearing off. This one is definitely coming off a little more difficult. but still coming off. This one is a 627. The brand is again NMB, but this one is made in Singapore. There's really nothing else here on the rotor that's worth salvaging in my opinion. Is there something else you guys would have taken off this? Let me know in the comments down below. It's pretty easy to see how this works, and we have a brand name on there, MG. I believe that's for Mini Gears, a high quality company that specializes in powdered metal parts. And you can see all these little ramps on both the gear and this little gear case here. That's how you get the hammering action. You turn it one way and you can hear that. Those little ramps engage each other, and as it twists, it then pushes the front here in and out. You can hear that, and that's what gives you the in and out hammering mechanism on this. There's nothing really I can see to salvage out of this. This is such a specialized proprietary part for this tool that I don't think I would have any use for it. We have a nice beefy bearing. I won't be able to show it to you, I don't think there, but it is NTN brand, so a high quality name brand, made in Japan, and the size is 6002. The name is worn off the chuck here. I don't recognize the font or anything used on it, but it's not held on with a screw down on the inside. I can tell that just by looking down in there, so it might just be threaded on here. You put a wrench on there and twist it off. I'll see if I can figure out how to get it off of there, because the chuck feels like it's still in pretty good shape. Unfortunately, the way this is made is I don't have any wrenches thin enough to grab onto that. Let me think about this a little bit more. Now I see that there's a little clip in there holding the bearing on. Maybe if I take that off, I can get the gear assembly off and at least salvage this bearing. I can't get that off of there, so it's time to pull out the big guns. And there it is, a very high quality, made in Japan, NTN bearing, salvaged for use another day. So there it is. I got a high quality cord here, and I didn't even notice before they took the time to put little crimped ferrules on the end of that. So that is just indicative of all the nice little details they put into this cord and this entire tool. So getting back to it, I got a high quality cord, 3 good quality bearings in some pretty common sizes, and a chuck here that I could salvage later if it turns out I need one. Again, I could cut it off right here, so then I could put a regular wrench on there and twist out this shaft. But for now, I don't need a chuck, so I'll just save it and do that someday if I actually need one. So what do you guys think? Would you have salvaged anything else out of this tool? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, hit that like button and that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.